Hi everyone. I have had something on my heart for a while. There's a lot going on in the world at this moment, and someone said something to me yesterday that really kind of struck a chord within me. I'd shared something on social media, and I'm going to preface this by saying this is one of the major cons of social media. People behind a keyboard, the keyboard warriors, they can say whatever they want and it doesn't affect anyone. And it really and truly does. And the reason why it struck a chord with me is I shared something that is my opinion. And honestly, what I shared was my opinion, but it was also scientific documented proof. What I had shared was, hello, Liza. What I had shared was it was a post about Florida and Texas. And I know I'm a Canadian, I'm in Ontario, but it was a post about Florida and Texas and how they have essentially put aside all the restrictions and their numbers are decreasing. Honestly, I'm not on here to debate anything. I'm not on here to even talk about COVID. I'm tired of it. I'm beyond tired of it. What struck a chord with me is what this woman said to me. This woman felt the need to comment on this and first spoke about how I, meaning me, have no understanding of what's going on. I love you too, Liza. Went on about how I don't understand what's going on in the world right now. I don't understand how full all the hospitals are. I never once said that. I didn't. I've been in some hospitals, yes. My husband had an accident in October. I have been in hospitals with him. He was in the hospital in October for 3 days. Anyway, again, we're not debating any of that. What really struck a chord with me is her last line, which was, "You are an embarrassment." Because I shared that, my opinion. I shared my opinion, and this woman so my story, I shared it from my personal Instagram account, which is still connected to Facebook. I'm not posting on Facebook, but it's still connected to Facebook. So it's shared to Facebook. Fine. Again, it's my opinion. This person who I haven't talked to in over 10 years felt the need to message me and berate me and tell me I'm an embarrassment, which she doesn't even know me. Anyway, it fucking fired me up. It fired me up because she doesn't know me. Sure, we're Facebook friends. That's all she knows of me. That's it. I wanted to remind everyone, your opinion matters, my opinion matters, and if you don't agree with me or you don't agree with Joe Blow down the street, that's your business. That's your business. If you don't like what someone posts, scroll on past. There's a button where you can unfollow them. I've already unfollowed that person. I've blocked them. I have no interest. At this point in my life, with the past year, I have no interest in having anyone like that in my life. I really and truly don't. I know what I need to do for my health. Clearly, this person has not been following my journey. That's fine. That's her prerogative. She does not need to follow my journey. Totally fine. What I know in my heart is I have completely shifted my life. Completely. A complete 180. Complete. In 10 years. More so, I would say 7, since 2014. But in 10 years, 10 years ago in November, well, it's probably about now, 10 years ago, I decided before I was 30, or around the age of 30, I was done, and I opted for a hysterectomy. The doctor was very hesitant because I was only 30 years old. I had both my children by then. I had no interest in dealing with any more female health issues, endocrine health issues that I had been dealing with for the past 10 plus years of my life. I'd been in and out of the doctor's office so many fucking times. I had told the doctor, and now I apologize if I get emotional, but it's been before I switched my life, before I moved over to holistic health, it was shit. I was in pain all the time. I had no energy. I would come home from work. Both my husband and I work. I would come home from work exhausted. I had like zero life with my children during the week because I had no energy. I was in pain. I was tired. I just felt like shit all of the time. I went to the doctor when my daughter was, I'm going to backtrack. I'm going to be completely fucking honest here. When my daughter was 6 months old, my husband came home from work. I was bawling. My daughter was 6 months old. My son was 2 years old. It was not a fun time. I mean, it was and it wasn't. My hormones were messed up. At 23 years old, taking it even further back, 23 years old, I was diagnosed with infertility. At 23. 23. Let that sink in. 23 years old. Infertility. What the hell was going on in my body at 23? I had not lived very long to put that many toxins in my body. But in fact, I had, because I had been on the birth control pill. And the birth control pill hid all of my health issues. All of them. All of them. Until I got off and we wanted to have a family. And that's when I was dealing with the hell of infertility. And I know, yes, there's people that have had much worse journeys. I know that. And I totally feel for you. I totally feel for you. I love you too, Liza, so much. Thank you. It rocked my world. It rocked my world. So when my daughter was 6 months old, I said to my husband, something's wrong. I need help. I went to the doctor, and what did he do? Not, what are you eating? What are you drinking? Are you exercising? None of that. My doctor at the time was a very old school, older doctor. I did not have a very good relationship with him. I did not have much trust in him whatsoever. He prescribed me antidepressants. That would fix me. That's what I needed. I took those for years. Years. My daughter was born in 2008. I took them for years. I finally got off of them in 2016, the end of 2016. I was off all pharmaceuticals. Not that I was on a ton of them. I was taking Advil, Tylenol sometimes, daily for pain. 2014, I started my holistic journey. Backtrack a little bit. When I had my hysterectomy in 2011, I knew the hysterectomy would not fix everything. I knew that. But I knew it would take away one big piece of that pain. I knew that would help in some way. And it did. It really did. 2014, I went to a class. It was a mood management essential oil class. I am so grateful for the women there that night. They completely opened my eyes to not only my own health, but my children's health. When my son was conceived, I was taking drugs to get pregnant. My son now has inattentive ADHD. Could be related, maybe not. If you ask the pharmaceutical industry, they will say it is not related whatsoever. Nope, not related. Could be, might not be, I don't know. I do know in my gut, learning what I learned that night about my son was in the NICU for 3 days because we ended up in It was the worst childbirth experience. I've only had 2, I know that, but it was hell. It was awful. It ended up in an emergency C-section. Both he and I ended up with an infection. Not a good time. What I learned from that class, though, in 2014 is that antibiotics, yes, they can be beneficial, but they can also harm our bodies and our mental health, our physical health in so many ways. So many ways. And back then, and it may sound weird to say back then, but back then, 15 years ago, wasn't talked about. Even back when I was trying to get pregnant, 2004 or 2005, PCOS, which I've been diagnosed with back in 2005, no one knew what the hell I was talking about. No one did. I felt so fucking alone. It wasn't even funny. I had to navigate my health. I did. Not the doctors. I did. It was try this pill, try that pill, try this pill. Now let's try this pill. Well, that's not working. That's why I opted for the hysterectomy. That's why I said, I am done. I'm done. Just get it out. I'm done dealing with it. 2014, began learning about holistic health. I have these oils all over my house, everywhere in our house, our bedrooms, my office, our kitchen, dining room, all over our house. Because this now is our first line of defense. Mental health, physical health, this, water, sleep. 2014, this journey started. And I said to myself, I eased in. I took baby steps. I was still then taking Advil daily for pain and discomfort. I couldn't function being a mother or working mother, for that matter, without it. I couldn't. I gently began easing myself off. I committed to this journey. I committed to these little bottles. Nature knows. I committed to these little bottles. And I said, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. So I put aside the bottle of the Advil. And I turned to sleep, food, my oils. I talked to my husband before I did this. He was very supportive. And I did it. I did it. I got off those daily pain medications. That was my first huge hurdle. 2017, I'm going to pull it forward a little bit more. 2016, I've always had an interest in energy work for a long, long, long time. A fellow oil friend, who was also a Reiki practitioner, had mentioned to some of us, because honestly, oils and energy, they go hand in hand. They really and truly do. She had mentioned that she was going to do a course. So there was a couple of us, at least, a couple of my fellow oil friends. We did the Reiki 1 class. So that meant Reiki treatment on someone else, Reiki treatment on myself, multiple times to get the training. In January 2017, I did a Cleanse and Restore program, which is through doTERRA, which is where I get my oils from. I don't trust any other company. I prefer doTERRA simply because of the research and testing and sourcing and all of that. It really, truly matters. The quality matters. So I started the Cleanse and Restore, and I essentially said to myself, no pressure, baby steps. Take the supplements. It gently cleanses your system and see what happens. Honestly, I have before tried to lose weight so many times, and it resulted in my mental health literally taking a shit kicking again, over and over and over again. One of the things, back it up to my old doctor, when I went to talk to him, and he said, oh, you just need to lose weight. And then said, you're dealing with infertility. Without me even seeing any other seeing a specialist. This is my family doctor. and then go home and we'll see if we can make an appointment. At 23 years old, how do you think that affected me mentally? It crushed me in so many ways. So moving back to 2017, I did this cleanse. I really and truly did not think anything was going to come out of it. I really didn't. But what did, so I committed to taking my supplements daily. I committed to drinking more water. I cut out any processed foods. So I was eating real food, real whole food. I used to buy the boxes, and I'm not going to name any names. I used to buy the boxes of chicken fingers just in case. The just in case became a few times a week. Because when you feel like shit and you're tired and you have no energy and you don't want to do anything, guess what? You go for the easiest option. That's natural. That's natural for all of us. Think of the past year, the shit storm we've all been in. There's so many times that if I had chips in my house, they would be gone. I'm being 100% honest. They would be gone. Now, I do opt for the more healthier version. I go for the organic chips. I go for the low sodium. I can't handle high sodium at all. I did it though. I did it. The weight, and when I say this, I am not saying this to sound like a know-it-all, to sound like I'm not. Because I didn't think I could do it. But what happened is the weight began melting off. It honest to God did. Between 2017 and 2019, 60 pounds. Think of 1 pound of butter. 60 of those gone. And I know it's not just the cleanse and restore. I know that. I know it's a package deal. I 100% know it's a package deal. I worked on my energy. I cleared my chakras with help through the Reiki treatments. I got my nutrition in order. I cleansed a ton of toxins out of me. A ton. Think of back in the day. Going drinking, eating shit food. We all did. Prescriptions. If you were on a prescription, the one thing that 100% stood out at that class for me, thank you, Liza, I love you so much. That one of the things that stood out from that class, if you've been on a prescription drug, it has hurt your gut. 100%. 100%. Both my son and I were on prescription drugs. Well, even before he was born, he was getting prescription drugs because they said I had an infection. It was being injected in me, which then went into him. While I was in labor, this is taking it back, but I was so scarred from this. While I was in labor, the doctor said, and my son was in distress, massive distress, massive. The heart monitors were like, the numbers were flying, like they were just crazy high, crazy high. And the doctor says to me, what do you want to do? After they've already had me pushing. All I wanted to do was hold my baby. That's all I wanted to do. It was my first child. I didn't know what the fuck to do. That's all I wanted to do. Was my baby be born. So from the minute before he was born, he was on prescription drugs. Before he was. That's the one thing that stood out from that class the most. If you've been on prescription drugs, your gut's been harmed. Because prescription drugs take out good bacteria along with the bad. We need that good bacteria in our bodies. We need to take probiotics, which we now have in our home all the time for all of us. So between 2017 and 2019, I had the massive weight loss. Even with everything last year, the weight has stayed off. I've been able to find a balance for my body that works for me. Not everyone is the same. What works for me exactly may not work for you, and that's fine because all of our health is different. So for this woman to say, as soon as I read that, you are an embarrassment? No, the fuck I'm not. No, I am not. I am so proud of where I have come from, and that's what fires me up so much. Listening to what the government says we need to do for our health. They don't know what you need. They don't know what I need. They didn't know what I needed back then when I would call multiple times and say, something is wrong. I don't feel right. Something is wrong. They would test my thyroid. They would test all my other blood work. You're in the normal range. The normal range means shit. It really and truly does. And I'm sorry if I'm sounding so blunt about this. Everyone's normal is different. I know what to do for my health. I 100% know what to do for my health. I don't do something without putting research behind it. I went to the oil class and I legit went home to my computer to research. I don't take someone's word and take it as gospel. I don't. Because I was given a brain and I think. And that's not to insult anyone. If you choose to listen to whatever someone says and you want to believe it without doing research, that's on you. That's your choice. I don't work like that. So for this woman to say you're an embarrassment, honestly, I deleted her and blocked her from both Facebook and Instagram. And then I sat for a moment and I sent her love. I thought of her and I sent her love. Because clearly she is hurting. Clearly. You don't go off on someone like that you barely know. That you barely know their story or anything about them. You don't do that unless you're hurting. You don't. One thing I learned, I think it was in 2018. I invested in personal coaching for myself. It was an investment. It was a lot of money. It was worth every single dollar. And one of the things she told me, she was an energy worker. So part of the treatments was Reiki. And in telling her that I was diagnosed with PCOS, hypothyroidism, endometriosis, all endocrine health issues. So if I post things about endocrine disruptors, I'm posting from experience, from my own experience, because I know sharing this information will help other women, will help other moms with their girls. I cringe when I see people buy, I'm not going to name stores, where you can get bath bombs at the same place that you can buy things for $1. Please do not do that to your daughters. Please, 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 please. There are so many toxins and chemicals in those things. Just look at the ingredients on the things that you're using. That's the first step. Honest to God. Take baby steps. When I first began this journey, I overwhelmed myself like crazy. And I thought, you can't save the world as much as I want to, but you can start with baby steps. So it was, okay, learned about the oils. What can I use these for in place of something else that I was using before? Take baby steps. Switching up our eating. In 2019, I had this weird feeling on the side of my body. Weird, like, when I say weird, like crazy weird feeling. I didn't even tell my husband for about a week because I thought I was going slightly crazy. And when I finally told him, the feeling that I was feeling on my side right about here was like I was pregnant and there was a baby inside of me moving. That's exactly how I felt. So I did make an appointment with I don't see a doctor, I see a nurse practitioner who is amazing. I made an appointment with her and she could feel my spleen was enlarged. Interestingly enough, that summer, so this was probably, can't remember exactly, but I'm thinking maybe August, end of July, probably end of July, early August that I probably went to see her. So I'd been really, really, really good with my diet. And when I say diet, I don't mean strict. I didn't follow a specific diet per se. I cleaned up what I was eating in any way that I could. So that summer, I began to get a little lax. I was eating a bit more processed foods, higher salt, and I know, because that's the only thing that changed, it had an effect. She sent me to a specialist, digestive, I can't remember the big long word. It's kind of like endocrinologist, but it's not. Anyway, went and saw her a couple times. She was amazing. And she suggested to me that, because I also told her I have IBS, I've had challenges with that before. And she had suggested looking up the FODMAP diet, FODMAP. And what that is, it's not necessarily a diet that you stay on. It's an educational diet to inform you about how 6 different food groups affect your body. I began that 2019. I downloaded the app, which was super helpful for when I'm in the grocery store, because there's some things that you wouldn't think of, or I wouldn't have thought of, that are much worse for me. Like, even think of cauliflower and broccoli. Broccoli's fine for me. Cauliflower, not so much. Brussels sprouts. I love Brussels sprouts. When my husband and I went to Texas a few years ago, and we went to this restaurant, and I had grilled salmon with asparagus fried up, and I know how this already sounds, with bacon and onions, and oh my Lord, oh my Lord, it was just so good. And I really, really, really enjoyed Brussels sprouts. So part of this diet is you take out these 6 food groups or food categories. Honestly, research it for yourself if you're interested, or if you have any type of digestive issues, or if you feel bloated or gassy or anything like that after you eat. Honest to God, look it up. And I found there's a lot of things that I was eating all the time that were affecting me. Brussels sprouts was one. Spinach is another thing, which kind of sucks because I like it, but I've kind of switched over to kale. So you learn to swap out what works for your body. If it doesn't work for you, okay, cool. What can we swap it with? That's kind of how I've been shifting my lifestyle. Even with, I love dips. Love, love, love dip. Even with popcorn. I just love dipping popcorn. It's a thing. I love to dip. I don't know why. Anyway, I would use sour cream. And so I switched over to Greek yogurt. what I've been finding is with doing the FODMAP diet, dairy is also, and I already knew, milk and ice cream, my body does not enjoy whatsoever. Or I can enjoy it for a short time, and then it's not fun. So I've been slowly learning how to get my body more aligned, how to listen to my body. And what's interesting is the way my body is now and the way my health is now, if I eat something or drink something that my body doesn't like, I quickly know about it. Very quickly. And I appreciate that now because I can load up on water to get flushing it out of me. So the other day I made a roast on Sunday. So good. So good. I added in some beef bouillon. I'm saying that right. The powdered stuff. Just for the extra flavor and to make gravy. And anyway, that evening, and that's the only thing I did different. The only thing. That evening, I began to get a headache. And it was, yes, one from the store. I've since reached out to someone about Epicure, and I'm going to be getting some stuff that's much healthier. But that night, I felt awful. And it was the type of headache that I knew if I didn't start loading up on water, loading up on my oils, not that one. That's Wild Orange. Past tense, amazing. And I knew if I didn't start catching it now and supporting myself and starting to try and flush it out, I wouldn't sleep and work the next day would be awful. I've learned to be completely in tune with my body. It's 100% a learning experience every single day. Every single day. But I am proud of myself for doing it. And not only for myself, I'm not just saying to my kids, no, you can't have this because of this. They know. They 100% know. If they see mom go for chocolate chips, I love chocolate. I really do. I have so much better self-control now. Both of my kids have no problem speaking up and saying, Mom, how will you feel if you eat that? I'm not teaching my kids to do as I say. I'm teaching my kids to do as I do. I don't want to be that parent. And part of shifting my health has shifted my parenting as well. In a big, big, big way. Because when you feel like shit, you react differently. You have zero patience. Especially for kids. Young kids. It's tough. When you are in pain, it sucks. It really does. And I love my kids. I so appreciate my kids. I prayed for my kids. For I say years. I did. I wanted to be a mom so freaking bad. I prayed for my son. I prayed for my daughter. I told my husband when my son was a few months old, I said, I can't do this again. I can't. It'll break me if I have to go through this again. God was listening. Because when my son was 9 months old, we got pregnant naturally with my daughter. I'm not a super religious person. I'm very much about the energy, very spiritual. What's meant to happen will happen, which is also something that I somewhat struggle with these days with everything that's going on. There's a huge question of why, but that's for another time. But what I do know is I know what my body needs for my health. Just like you know what your body needs for your health. The government doesn't know that. Your doctor may not even know that. Your doctor doesn't feel what you feel. And I'm not saying any of this to discredit. There are so many good doctors out there. I already said my nurse practitioner, I love her. She is so good. So good. Because she shows respect to me. She respects me for my health. She knows I choose holistic options first. She 100% knows I do. Years ago, my son had another throat issue. For years, he had throat, ears, off and on. We went to a specialist. I think a couple times actually. I'd have to look back and see. I don't understand the division. I don't. In any way. People are being turned against each other for their own beliefs, their own opinions. Why? For whatever reason that this woman felt the need to message me this, as I said, I sent her love. She needs a lot of love. She's obviously in pain, a lot of pain. And I feel for her because that was me one day, long ago. Way long ago. Yes, I feel pain. Yesterday, Yesterday was mixed because it was almost a relief. I knew the announcement that was going to be made about our kids in school. I knew. A month ago when they announced that they were going to send parents double the payment that they sent us previously, because $400 in our bank account makes up for our children's mental health, being forced into isolation, fear injected into them. And this is all my opinion. All my opinion. So think what you want, believe what you want. That's your right, just as this is mine. I knew a month ago this was coming down, as soon as they announced. So we pivot again. Honestly, I'm getting tired of pivoting based on what the government thinks we need. You don't know what we need. You don't know what my son needs. You don't know what my daughter needs. You don't know what my husband needs. I know what I need. My son knows what he needs. My daughter knows what she needs. My husband and I support our children mentally, physically, financially, obviously right now. That's our job as their parents. It's not the government's job to tell me what to do for my health. It's not anyone else's job, especially someone who's pretty much a stranger. So the next time you're scrolling through and you see someone posting something that you do not agree with, maybe it's the opportunity that you take at that moment to read it or listen to it and think, wow, I wonder what went on in their life, or I wonder what happened, or why they believe this. Why aren't we questioning more? Just like kids do. Which I will say it used to drive me crazy when my kids would say, why, all the freaking time. That's how they learn. Why have adults stopped questioning? Why aren't we questioning more? It's our right. It's our right. It's our bodies. It's our homes. We choose. No one else. And I feel like I could go on forever, but I need to get my workout in, because that's the other thing I started in March. And after months and months and months of me saying to this coach, I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready. And then backing out. And then finally, I don't know what happened on March 3rd, but I find interesting because my favorite number is 3. So it was 3-3. Oh my God, in 21, 2 plus 1 is 3. So it was like 3, 3, 3, which is kind of cool. Anyway, something shifted in a very big way. I took the leap, and that's one thing I want to say is shifting your life, it's not easy. Change isn't easy. If it was, everyone would do it. It's not easy. But if I can do it, you can 100% do it. 100%. I send everyone so much love. So much love. Life shouldn't be like this. It should be easy. It should be graceful. It should be simple. It should be loving, abundant. There should be no division at all. My beliefs, if I choose not to get the vaccination, that's my choice. That shouldn't matter any of my relationships. It shouldn't. It's sad to see the division. It really is. I'm going to actually pull a card. For any of my oil or energy lovers, this new deck I got, it's a Star Seed Oracle deck, and I absolutely love it. And my husband just got home, so hopefully he'll see that I'm on here live. He may not. Anyway, one thing I like to do when I come home before I work out is I like to pull a card. If it focuses. Surrender to the sweetness. Venus energy, pleasure, joy, make love to life. So I'm going to look it up in the book here. Yes, I'm on a live. I'll be done in a moment. Okay, surrender. Surrender to the sweetness. 112. Okay, surrender to the sweetness. This is a sensual, highly feminine card. It's a call to surrender to the sweetness of life, to let the ever-abundant feminine take over, to taste the fruits you've been working so hard to grow, to let your senses take over and really drink in your life with wonder, to get intoxicated on the simple bounty that this planet has to offer and which you have within you when your well is full. The ancient Babylons connected the feminine goddess Ishtar to the planet Venus, and in Roman mythology, Venus was the goddess of love and beauty. In our night sky, aside from the moon, Venus shines the brightest. Time is our most precious resource, and it's the greatest healer. If you've been all work and no play, this is a sign to take some time out, to reconnect with your lover, play with your children, and give yourself the luxury of time without an agenda. Many of us are so busy building our lives that we forget to enjoy them. We forget why we decided to build them in the first place. Disconnection from the sweetness causes more pain than we realize. So many of us walk into soulless buildings 5 days a week in the name of survival. We strive to build the life of our dreams, but drive ourselves to exhaustion. This card is wooing you back to the pleasures of being human, to focusing on what really matters and enjoying your incredible life. How can you surrender to the sweetness of life? What's one way you can enjoy your life a little more? I love, love, love that card is what came up during this live. I really, really love it because that's what I wanted to share. The fact that you are in control of your life, not the external world. And so easy we can get sucked into that external world. So easy we can get sucked into social media and think that the people behind the screen of our phones know more than we do or matter more than we do. We matter first. It's taken me a long time. I'm turning 40 this year, but I'm turning 40 in the best health I have ever been in. So as I approach my 40th birthday, I will cheers you my water and wish you well.